he's not top 10 material.
I think he's great in the ring.
He's been significant for the whole year.
He has.
Don't get us wrong here. He's been significant, but he's not made a major impact in the industry.
Exactly.
And all right, number 7, Jay Briscoe.
I'm perfectly fine with that. He's having a phenomenal year in ROH.
Here is a confusing one, even though Kenny Kloska would love this.
Yep.
This is a confusing one. Rusev. We all love Rusev's work.
I'm not a huge fan of Rusev, but I definitely respect it.
We like his
I'm a
work.
huge fan.
I feel WWE killed it when they
Had him lose to Cena.
Exactly. But if you're going to put Rusev in that spot, I would put somebody else that's career was very parallel with him during that whole run.
Yep.
Bray Wyatt.
Yep.
Like, how isn't Bray Wyatt?
And where is Bray? Bray is 21 on this list.
But it's the same parallel.
Yep.
Domination, lose to Cena.
Yep. Exactly.
I don't, Bray Wyatt's one of those ultimate heels. You don't need to hold a title to be significant. Rusev had the United States title, and he had it for a while. And they both had to suffer the wrath of Cena.
The wrath of Cena, which is just what happens with young talent.
They don't know what to do, so they have him take on Cena, and then Cena wins. They bury the loser for a little bit until they can figure out what to do with him.
That's how the WWE tries to make heels more heel. Put them up against Cena. But little do they know, there was a match, I think it was on Raw, during that Rusev-Cena feud, where the fans cheered Rusev when he was praising Russia.
Yeah.
Like, Cena is hated by fans when fans would rather cheer for Russia than John Cena.
I mean, they cheer. Pretty much everybody's cheered over Cena. I've gotten to this point where
I agree.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins
is cheered over Cena. It's really weird. The fans don't appreciate having stuff down their throat. They want to cheer and boo-hoo for they want.
And this is where we go to Cena on this point. Cena as a person, awesome. Cena as a wrestler, great. Good. I'm going to change that. Cena as a wrestler, good. Cena's character, completely and utterly boring.
Overdone.
Way overdone. You cannot have one wrestler have the same character for a decade straight and expect the fans to be all for it.
It's been over a decade now.
Well, yeah, over a decade.
2 decades almost.
It's just, I don't get it. Going into number 9, you have Alberto El Patron, Alberto Del Rio, whatever you want to call him, and
I don't think he should be in the top 10.
I don't think top 10.
He's been insignificant since he left WWE.
Yeah.
Not to mention he no-showed for a major
charity event.
And that was a televised charity event.
Yeah. I would say for Del Rio, Patron, whatever you want to call him, I would say maybe top 40. He's still a good talent.
Yeah.
In the ring, I still like his work. You're going to go to number 10. You're going to go to Kev's favorite wrestler in the entire world for all eternity, Kevin Owens at 10. I'm okay with Owens at 10, like right there, because you got to look at his NXT work. You got to look at his work before he came to the WWE, because he was not in the WWE for the full 365 days, and then his work on the main roster. Kev, I see you making faces right now. Go on.
Top 25. I'll give him that. Not top 10.
I agree.
I think top 10 right now is just PWI being probably influenced by WWE to push him.
Okay. All right. I
just don't.
I respect the top 25 for him. I'm okay with him at that 10 spot.
Again, there's a bunch of guys on this list. Even with Daniel Bryan missing the time, Daniel Bryan has still had a more of a significant career in the 1 year than Owens.
I will say I do believe Ambrose belongs higher than Owens, because Ambrose not only in the last 365 days, I don't know if Ambrose has held a title.
He has not.
He has not. But he was in multiple main events.
Ziggler has been more significant.
Yep.
And skimming down to your boy Luke Harper as well.
Okay. I but Owens has been he's been in main event pictures on multiple levels in the last 365 days, and that in.
But WWE guys should not be penalized for spending an entire year in WWE.
No, I totally agree, and that's why I would put Dean Ambrose over him.
And it's unfortunate when you have to say that when you get to the WWE and you're there for a year, it's like being penalized because your entire career is in the palm of someone else's hands. Yep. Where in indie, you have more control of your creative character.
You do, and that's why I actually do praise the WWE a little bit for going to the number 13 spot, is allowing Dean Ambrose to be Dean Ambrose. Yeah. His character right now, it may not be as hardcore as he was in certain promotions like CZW, where he was just a nutcase and cut himself 24/7. But
I'm already tired of his character.
Dean's? Really?
Yeah, because it's been done. It's been done before. If you want to go to the original, unhinged lunatic, Randy Savage was the one.
Okay.
It's been done. There's only so many times you can get on a microphone,
I personally think
spit out a bunch of gibberish that makes you think you're a lunatic. Run to the ring, have all these facial expressions, and your hair's a mess. You're wrestling in jeans. Looks like you just rolled out of bed with your beater. It's been done.
I personally think Dean Ambrose is the modern day love child of Brian Pillman and Roddy Piper.
I don't think they should turn around and make him like a, what's his face? The one I interviewed from ECW.
Sandman?
No.
Kev's trying to think here.
Oh man, see, this is where we could have had the. He always holds up the 3 for Candido, Bam Bam Bigelow, and himself.
Oh my god, I don't know why I can't think of this right now.
Blonde.
I don't know why I can't think of this person.
Oh my god.
Alright, well.
And then they made him into a nerdy teacher character when he came over from WCW.
Shane Douglas?
Shane Douglas. There you go.
They made him
Good
Dean
job.
Douglas.
Who knows? I would have thought of it.
There you go. Good job.
They made him Dean Douglas.
Yes. Okay.
But again, a crazy, unhinged character. And then they brought him to WWE and they made him this nerdy, wordy Dean.
Yeah.
Which, if anybody heard the interview we had with him, WWE pretty much ruined his on-TV career.
Yeah. But I mean, going on to a little bit towards the bottom, not the bottom, but like the bottom of the top 30 or so. Ryback at 29. I just don't get that. I don't. He hasn't been in a major main event feud. He's had the IC title. He was in a couple other feuds. I don't get that.
I think it's the physical body. And I don't mean body as body of work. The physical body of Ryback.
Physical attributes.
He's just a very imposing guy.
Then why is he ahead of number 30, Ethan Carter III? I think Ethan Carter III's body and his physical presence is more impressive
But I don't
than Ryback.
think Ethan Carter's body of work really kicked in until the last couple of months.
Okay.
So
I still think he's better than Ryback.
If we go into next year's top 500, Ethan Carter starts off that year as champion, and he goes 6-7 months as a champ or a guy who's up there as a contender. Mm-hmm. Then you probably see Ethan Carter in the top 5.
Okay. Because I personally think I've talked about this before. I think the WWE dropped the ball majorly on Ethan Carter III because I think he is very, very impressive in the ring.
And here's Darren Young.
Darren Young. I like Darren Young a lot, but Darren Young's not 33 on that list. I'm sorry.
It's really hard to put tag teams in a top 500 wrestling thing because tag team wrestlers, a lot of them have to rely on their partner to just stand out. If you have someone that stands out so much more than your partner, then you wind up with Bret Hitman Hart, Jimmy Anvil Neidhart, which Bret Hitman Hart.
And the crazy thing is, as much as I like Darren Young, Titus O'Neil is lower than him on this list.
He is, and
so is Cesaro.
Yeah, well, we're not going to. Titus O'Neil's
171.
171.
I don't get Titus O'Neil 130, 140 numbers below Darren Young. I don't get it. And I think Darren Young, I'm very much okay with him being right around that Titus O'Neil number.
Yeah.
I have no problem with both of them being at the 170 mark. And that's not to take away from their in-ring ability, their personality, and everything. I just think there's a lot of other wrestlers that should be higher on that list.
Like Cesaro.
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 Hey, you know what?
Cesaro to me is a top 25 guy.
Cesaro, top 20. I would say.
Is it his fault that he hasn't been in a title picture?
No.
No, because he's being penalized because he's in WWE.
No, you know what? I don't. In this situation, I'm just going to solely look on your body of work matches-wise, and the way his matches are, he's a top 10 guy matches-wise.
Former tag team champion.
If you throw in that with that one title reign, I would say...
Now, what number was he?
41. 41.
And,
I would say...
And his partner, which is not much, number 53, Tyson Kidd.
I'm okay with Tyson at 53.
But they're close. Unlike Titus O'Neil and Darren Young.
Exactly. I would put Cesaro top 15. If you're looking at total body of work, I would put Cesaro at 15.
And then you got a guy like Big E Langston at 44.
Big E Langston.
Big E Langston to me is not a top 50 guy. Meanwhile, you got his tag team partner Kofi Kingston at 52.
I don't think either one of them should be in the top 52.
I think the Kofi Kingston era is done. There's only so many times you can do that whole gimmick of not touching the floor.
Not touching the floor. And you know they're going to do it again this year. That's just the way it is.
I mean, you do come up with cooler ideas, jumping from the ring to the announce table, back to the ring, or riding on a chair. And all right, you get a little creative, but we all know you're going to try it somehow, some way.
Yep. Another guy who's very interesting this high up is 65 with Stardust. And it's funny because I don't mind him that high up. I might drop him at like 5 to 10 spots, but I'm actually okay with him being that high up. You look at it this way. I think he's very, very entertaining, and I wasn't a fan of that character right at the very beginning. But I'm okay with him with him being around the top 100 or so.
What do you think about Sin Cara being ranked 100?
Sin Cara should not even remotely be even close to this list.
But are we penalizing Sin Cara for Mystico, or are we failing to recognize him as Unico?
I don't think... I just don't like... I don't like...
To me, I'm thinking they're Sin Cara as Unico. They're going to give him the top 100. He's not that bad.
He's not that bad, but he's not a top 100.
Mystico was terrible.
I go top 250. I'd be cool with that, but he's nowhere near that much.
Okay. Mark Henry, 130.
No.
Mark Henry, I don't think should be in the top 400.
I think a guy like Chris Sabin should be way ahead of him. Chris Sabin, who's a couple numbers below him.
Big Show, 36.
Not even remotely close. Add like a 3 before the 36. Big Show shouldn't even be close to 36.
And the fact that he's ahead of Big E.
Ahead of Drew Galloway, former guest. Ahead of Adam Cole, Cesaro,
Austin Aries,
Michael Elgin, Austin Aries. Yeah. He does not even belong close to that.
He's ahead of 464 other people.
Kane at 51. Yes, he's been in the Authority storyline. He's been a main event storyline, but his in-ring work still is not impressive to me.
Okay, we mentioned that you got to meet certain qualifications.
Yes.
Brock Lesnar not on the list.
I think
the Undertaker not on the list.
If I remember correctly, PWI has a requirement 7 months in a row of at least one match, and I think it's 8 or 9 matches during the 12-month period. So, obviously, Lesnar, Taker not eligible. And I actually like those requirements,
the lowest WWE talent on the top 500 at 477, Zack Ryder.
And you know what's even crazier about that statistic is I think the next closest WWE talent is like 230 spots ahead of him, which is the craziest thing I've ever heard. Zach, I like Zack Ryder. I hope him with the Hype Bros down in NXT, I hope that revitalizes his career a little bit, and he can sort of jump up back into the main roster in a tag team.
The Anui family, the Samoans, represented at 372 with Lance.
Yep. And then you have Chris Jericho's favorite wrestler, Cheeseburger, ROH star, at 496. However, you throw Cheeseburger in at 496. I know he's in ROH. I know he's a big talent. But then you don't put guys like Joey Janela, Damian Adams.
Before we even get into that, just the last 10. Okay, you got Matthew Palmer, Richie Slade, Eric Andrews, Blackjack Phoenix, Stompin' Steve, Kay Jutler, Cheeseburger, The Hobo, Dewey Murray, Brandon Locke, and Space Monkey. Okay, no disrespect to anybody on this list. They're doing a lot more than I would ever be doing. But again, we're new.